Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to what will be the first round of the Slip Grip Simracing GT4 World Series. My name's Tom, and I'm going to be doing the commentary for you this evening, and hopefully across the rest of the series. If you are joining me this evening live, welcome into the chat. Thanks for holding on whilst we just got the stream ready. And, well, if you're watching it back after the event, you had a good event, and hopefully we can bring you some good coverage of the racing. So currently got 16 cars in the server. I believe we have 27 signed up in total, so some of the guys not able to make it this evening. However, 16 is still a decent grid, and a scrap around the mountain should be a good one to watch. Let me know if you are in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me okay, if the levels are alright. Try and check on my phone, but it's never quite the same as listening through speakers or a headset if you are. So, earlier today we saw Matt Johnston doing some practice. He's moved away from what was going to be a KTM for this series and has moved into the Mercedes. Instantly in this practice session, showing some good times already. Format for this evening will be 2 40-minute races, and you've got a 15-minute qualifying coming up in just under 2 minutes time. Matt there clouting the wall, not something you're going to want to be doing in the 40-minute races. Hi Harrison, see you in the chat, all good for me, perfect, thank you for letting me know. Managed to break the chat widget so it's open on my phone. If I do miss it, I do apologise. So one of the standard last minute liveries for Matt. Always goes well and is showing true to form early on in this session. A name we've seen before, Nat Shirley. Currently P2 in this practice session, just finding his limits as we head up over the mountain. Car going light around there, trying to get the nose in to find the apex. Again over another blind crest. If he finds a car over the other side of that in the race, you'll know about it, but the same goes for all of them. Down to the tight left-hander, critical for the run down the back straight. We saw Matt wide on the exit, nice and controlled from Nat in the Porsche. Alex McGee right on the tail of what I can only assume is Joe Challoner purely, but well, that was ragged. Alex there tucked up under the back of the Alpine, under rotation of the front wheel there as well. A yellow flag, a car in the wall. That car disappearing back to the pits, but it's already from the practice session looking like it's going to be, as you see, Joe into the wall. All backs it across the track and manages to collect the Porsche, not the advert we need. Right, the calm and tranquility of the pit lane. Not sure why Joe's got the number 1 on the side. Oh, he's the number 1 there as well. So he's tried to spec a 13, but he's ended up with a number 1. Ah, some spam in the chat. Not really sure what I can do about that. Could do with a moderator. Thanks, Harrison, for reporting that. I'll be back in 1 second. Wellborn?
Yes.
We're getting cheap sex adverts in the chat.
Oh. Based on your cookies, isn't it?
Previous search history.
Hey? You what? Oh, why does our intermission screen still broadcast my voice? What is this doing?
You haven't turned it off.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, I realised, Harrison, that the stream can still hear me. Oh dear. Oh, well, at least I didn't say anything worse than that. Right. Let's go. Let's start taking the racing seriously. Right then, so it's turned into racing on the outlap. I will fix the intermission screen for next time. I've missold everyone in the start of the stream how long we have. Turns out it was a 20-minute qualifying session, so a little longer than I'd said with the 15 minutes, but all the same. Let's get that onto broadcasting so you can see it without the on-screen overlay. Right then, track map 616. Ryan Ware, not a name we've seen before on a Slip and Grip Sunday event. However, he will be the first car to start a lap. Keen as ever to get involved. Let me just open up a window so I don't overheat. So, down to turn 1. A neat amount of curb giving him the run up the hill. No slipstream for Ryan or the car immediately behind. I didn't clock who that was. We have got some new names in with us this evening. Ryan Ware. Who else? Ellie Douglas. Craig Daffron. Yeah, Craig Daffron. Sorry if I'm butchering any of your names, but I think that's 3 names that I've not seen before, so good to have some others joining us. If you are watching along at home and want to be racing and you haven't damaged your wrist, sorry Harrison, then do get involved. Links to the Discord should pop up every so often. If not, a quick Google search will find your links to our Discord. Looking neat so far for Ryan. Now that critical hairpin that we spoke about. How's the exit? Yeah, out to the white line, not too close to the wall. Get a good strong lap in early on and then build from there. Ryan classified as a pro, as denoted by the table on the left hand side. Reds as your AMs, silver as your silver, or the grey on the left, and then the white back numbers being your pro drivers. Braking zone at the bottom of the hill. The heads down to the final turn on the circuit. Nice wide sweep in. Up just after the apex, not too wide, neat and tidy. 2-minute 14.6 for Ryan. It's a good strong start. Craig Daffron immediately in 0.2 faster. In the background, Daff Speed on the team name. It's horsepower in the Camaro. So Ross Parker files in behind, as does Ash Wotton, 1.8 and 4.3 behind respectively. Nat Shirley 0.6 off the front. then Kyle Wright, 1.1. Big chunk of curve from Craig, but it's clearly working for him. So two names that we've not seen before, straight to the top of the tables. Matty Johnson splits them, having only chosen that AMG about an hour ago. So more time to find how close do you want to get to the wall. Good proximity to the wall for Craig. He's off throttle to get the nose in. Chunk of curb on his way through. How are we looking on deltas? Andrew Wellborn to the top of the tables by half a second, so not one of the first drivers to go round, but he's found himself some clear air to bring in a 2:13.7. Strong shine will stick with Craig for the time being as we descend the mountain. V8 slamming down the gears. The horsepower now unleashed, heading down the back straight. Brian Ware looks like he's really improving. The car ahead of us on circuit at the moment. 0.4 improvement would close that gap and jump him ahead of Matty J. Matty J 0.4 improvement too, so an optimum track with 31 degrees, an unsettled Chevrolet there. Down to the final turn. Here, in comparison to the Aston Martin, how early he was able to pick up the throttle. That last lap was 0.3 off for Craig, so he didn't actually improve on that lap. Matty J, where are you? So we've had the Ryan's improvement. Now, Matty J down the back straight, currently showing 0.5 up, but yeah, early pickup on the throttle. I think he's maintained that. So he gained the time in the braking zone, but was able to carry that speed through the corner. 0.5 improvement would close him up onto Wellborn. Those two have had numerous battles over the years. Not even a sign of oversteer there for Matt. Well, it'll close him up. He's within a tenth. So a really good run there for Matt. Really good. So let's see if he can sustain this momentum. Let's see who else is doing what. That's Ash Copeland in the background, just starting a new lap. He's had a good run through the first turn. An improvement by the tune of 0.2 of a second. Up over the crest, that yellow flag's Matty J backing out of it and going back to the pits. Number of drivers picking the Porsche. How many have we got so far? 6 of the 15 cars present choosing the Porsche. Familiar for some people, having run in a Porsche series before. Narrow approach to that turn, keeps the nose in. Climb up, looking like an improvement again. Craig too improving. There's Ryan, just appears to be backing off, squaring up for another lap. 2 cars ahead shown on the map just to the right hand side of your screen. Yeah, still looking like an improvement, 0.6, so this potential pole, flash of the lights, Ryan moves aside. Ryan will square up in a moment to get a run on to the next lap. I wonder if Craig and Ryan do know each other. There is Craig, not quite, he splits Matt Johnston and Andrew Wellborn. Quick on the brakes, he's going back to the pits, he's going to be keen for a setup change. Also worth noting, just noticed the chat, no Macca's. I instantly assumed McDonald's and was confused while you were talking to me about fast food. No McLarens for this round. Missing this round due to work. Should be on for the next one. Nice one, Sam. It'd be good to have you with us. Thanks for joining the stream, even if you are at work. Look, some more spam. Unfortunately, Wellborn's racing, and I don't have the admin rights to this account. If you are in the chat, I wouldn't mind reporting that. That'd be great. So, heading up the hill. A wiggle of the wiggle of the tyres, wiggle of the car, warming up the tyres, getting the car in the right place. Wellborn, however, in his Alpine, raspy little engine out the final turn. He's a 0.3 improvement. Has he got it into the 12s? Probably not. Why? No, sorry, that was his improvement. I missed the change. I'm good at this. So, Osborne takes the 13.495. 0.3 advantage over Craig at this stage. There's a name we've not seen in a little while, Stephen Pole. Ooh. Pushing. Absolutely pushing in his Fanatec liveried Porsche. Over the hill we go. Try and keep the car settled. Hugs a nice tight line there. Maybe a little too tight. The car unsettled off the turn there. And I think that is Craig in his mirrors. Craig, the sole Chevrolet driver in this round, as Stephen clatters the wall. So 2.4 off the pace, really close to Joe Challoner's time. That won't have done him any favours. Some damage on that front end. He limps it down towards the pits. Luckily, still got 8.5 minutes left of this qualifying session. Ross Parker of Slip and Grip Automotive, currently running a livery. This is Ross Parker of Porsche Motorsport, according to the overlays. Heads through the final turn, currently showing an improvement of 0.6. Should jump him up the field nicely. It does, right onto the time of Carl Wright. So those Porsches moving forwards up the grid. Ross will be straight on for another lap. So Mr. Challoner heads up the hill. Not sure if that's an outlap or... No, I think Joe is on it. Is anyone else improving? Ashley Wooten in the Mars Racing Mars Bar liveried car. That looks rather smart. Out onto the curb. Not quite a glance at the wall, I don't think. The number 4 car. Wait, it says number 4 on the... Hang on. It's marked up as a 3. Got a 4 on the door because Alex Osborne's actually got the number 4 car. Has he got a number 4 livery? Blimey, Joe Ragged in the background. There you go, number 4 on the door. So we've got 2 number 4s, but one's become a 3. So there you go. Joe Challoner currently a second up. He was looking a little ragged earlier on. Nat Shirley also up on his time. Let's just catch Nat coming towards the end of his lap, and then we'll go back to Joe. So another of the Porsches. The Porsches coming on stronger as everyone's finding their feet. Onto the power, heading down to the final turn. Currently 6th, currently 0.2 up. Should just close the gap to Ash Copeland. Ah, lost a... Yeah, he did. Closed the gap slightly, but... So the last was a 2 minute 14.837. His best showing as a 2 minute 14.992. So that was an invalid lap. Where is Joe? There is Joe. 1.5 seconds up. This should be a nice little leap. 10th to 6th. Joe within a second of the front runners, not far off Ash Copeland. So a bit of a gap between the likes of 6th within a second and then 8th outside of 2 seconds. You've got Nat Shirley almost exactly splitting the difference. How are we getting on? Ellie Douglas down the hill. Team Skyline Janettas. 751 car heads down the hill. Currently showing a 0.2 improvement. So Ashworth and Ellie towards the back of the field. Jake Jenkins not currently set a lap time. I think he's sat in the pit. So the Janetta lacking a little in straight line speed has been reported down this track. Not quite smashing the limiter by the end. Chunk of curb there for Ellie. is still that 0.2 improvement, so jumps ahead of Ashburton. That fight will continue. Ashley currently down on this sector, a little bit of a scuff on the nose there. Any signs of improvement? Nat Shirley late on in the lap was a little slow out of that turn there, went from 0.5 up to now only 0.2 up. So if you can square up a good braking zone. So that 0.2. Again an invalid lap, so not sure what's happened there for Nat, but the last two improvements haven't actually registered. Joe backing off slightly, I think, to go at another lap. He was momentarily green. In the background there, the car, the Aston Martin getting out of the way. I think that was Kyle Wright. So Craig 0.2 up on Delta. Not quite enough to get to Wellborn though. So Wellborn has had some improvements and is currently on a flyer. He's just coming around, so Craig's tried to improve. Well, they're all trying to improve, but Craig has improved there. Andrew, one more corner left to go. Matching Delta currently briefly 0.1 up. Is it a better lap? It is. So move slightly further away from Craig, but again they're fractions of a tenth at the moment. Moving ahead of each other, fighting it out with 3 minutes left. Challoner feels the tyres aren't where he needs them, which is funny because they're definitely on his wheels. Right, that's Shirley over the mountain, 0.2 up. Number of cars in the pits, we've got 2. We've not seen Chris Rock just yet. Nice to see someone in the Beamer. That would have been my choice, but I'm biased. Down the hill we go. 2.5 minutes left of this session. People keep jumping in and out of improvements as Nat heads down the hill. So it's going to be an overtaking place. It's going to be that run down there. Trouble is, if you're compromised offline defending, you will then be susceptible to attack. It's good to see so many cars within the first second. I think there will be a couple of different groups forming in these two 40-minute races. 2 40-minute races. So Nat with an improvement there, not quite enough to get on terms with Ash. Who else have we got? Ryan Ware. Down the hill we go. He's had a good run through that turn. Currently showing 0.1 up. A bit far back to get a tow from the car ahead. Turn still showing 0.1, so that can take him ahead of Joe. Does indeed. So Joe demoted to 5th, Ryan back up to 4th. It's going to be really tight at the front. The cars all having different strengths and weaknesses. More people head into the pits. Some people will be calling that quits. The likes of Craig will be done now. He won't have time to get out and come round for another lap. This will be the final lap for Ryan. Wellborn currently 0.2 up. Let's see if I can do this. So we're on board with Andrew Wellborn, currently 0.1 up. So there we go, down to 2nd, tucks the nose in, needs to unwind the steering because it's very positive on the turn in. No apex there, and yeah, so no need for Andrew to try and improve on that one. How's Ryan doing? Here we go then, we'll stick with Ryan for the rest of this lap. Sorry if the onboard is a little too loud, but if I adjust any volume, I'll just get it wrong, in the wrong place when I come back. Into the wall for Ryan, so even the guys with his front running pace, looking for the extra tenths and finding concrete instead, but absolutely rapid. Gets the nose hooked up and gives him a critical run down to this final turn. Keeps the car mid. Oh no, gets the nose over fairly early to ensure the turn in on the Aston Martin. Dip of a lower gear to bring the nose in, and straight back on the throttle to power down the hill. Some of the lighter cars with less power struggle through this section. Struggling down the hill. Dave Rose hasn't set any laps. He's in to start the race from the back. Jake Jenkins currently improving. Some overstiff for Ryan on the way into. Lots of the cars showing a strong turn in, a positive front end on the car. And then backing off for Ryan into the pits. There we are then, into the pits for Ryan. We've got Jake improving on his time. One of the SAR cars, one of the boys joining us again. The hazard marking on the back. Hopefully not too ominous. Another of the Porsches heads into the pit. So Jake's lost a bit of time, isn't going to improve on this round, and that is the end of that session. We've had a bit more spam in the chat. That's a shame about that. Unfortunately, reporting doesn't seem to do much right then. Let's hit drive. So the drivers will now have 3 minutes to finalise their setups, make sure they're on the right set of tyres. As I said earlier, they've only got 4 sets of tyres for the evening, so they might have rinsed one in practice. They will have definitely used at least one set quite heavily in that session, and then hopefully leaving a fresh set for each of the 2 races. However, if qualifying was critical and they wanted a fresh set for a second run, they may have compromised the race setup, or they didn't bother with the practice. So, as I say, the setups go on, and I will be back in a moment. Right then, we're back. That's that 3 minutes nearly done. And we will see the guys do a full outlap. Get the tyres into the right place. Hope that they've got the setups right. Excuse me. And, well, we'll see how we go. Good mix of cars. Little Porsche heavy, but we can deal with that. 2 of the Alpines. 4 Aston Martins, 1 Ginetta. One Chevy and one Merc. Then the engine start, the revs rise, and Andrew Wellborn leads them away. The BMW Sim Sport liveried car. There we go. So Andrew will be familiar with how Matty Johnston in third races. However, he will not have raced, I don't believe he has raced Craig Daffron before. Ryan Ware also in the mix, joining us for the first time this evening. So the top four, two of the old Slip and Grip names matched against two newcomers. Got Joe Challoner with not much practice, starting in fifth. Ash Copeland, and then Nat Shirley, Alex Osborne, Carl Wright and Ross Parker. Our top 10 in qualifying. Setting one fast lap is one thing, doing it repetitively for 40 minutes is another. So let me know if you're in the chat. Harrison, if you're still there, if you can wade through the spam. Let us know you're still there. If you've not spoken already, let us know who you're watching. If you're in supporting someone, we'll try and get some onboards with that person for you. Dabbing the brakes up the hill, trying to get some heat into the tyres, into the brakes, get that Alpine ready to lead the pack away. Hopefully no spins from anyone just yet. Come over the hill, there's Joe weaving. A handful of Porsches, 6th, 7th and 8th. Shirley being one of them, there he is, Carl Wright in his Aston Martin. Feels like then another two Porsches, so Carl splitting up that pack of 5. Chris Rock not giving him any airtime at the moment. Yeah, Harrison's still there, gives us a wave. Barrett on the side of his car, the hazard marking similar to the Porsche just out the back of your screen there. Good in a straight line is the BMW, so we'll see if Chris can make any moves. 12th on the grid. Just take a screenshot of the starting positions. Then we can track who is where, who's been going where, and where they've ended up. For some reason on my timing screen. So we've got Ellie, and we've got Chris, but Niels Brewer is currently showing us out, as in out lap, but yeah, so Niels Brewer is disconnected or is not taking part in the start of this session. That's unfortunate. Threw me because I've got 16 on my list and 16 on the timing board. However, I have two 12th places, so apologies to that. Yeah, Neil's not able to take part for whatever reason. Right then, let's grab a helicam and let's try and keep track of the pack. There we go. So 2 by 2 we head to the final turn. Niels isn't racing these, I don't think he's signed up, says Sam. Well, at some point he was in the server because he's on my timing list. Not really sure. So as they file into position, Andrew a little further ahead than the Camaro, but Chris was strong off that last turn. There's the call for green, there's the call for green. So it's agility versus horsepower down to turn 1. Andrew keeps his nose ahead. There's some cars coming from a long way back, but we all file through. Matty J taking the attack towards Chris. However, where's Ryan? Ryan is being out-dragged at the moment by Joe Challoner. It's all rather close further back. The Alpine not renowned for its straight line speed. So can Joe take it all the way around the outside, or will Ryan maintain the position taken inside? Ryan does indeed use that inside line to hold the position. Craig is slow off the turn, not quite sure what's happened there. That puts him back behind Matty J, 10 seconds back. He's run wide and into the wall. It doesn't look like it was provoked, but I will reserve judgment. I will have a look at the back of the car. No damage on the back, so it might have just been driver error. So let's head back to... I can't head back to... There we go. An off-board camera set. So Craig down to 4th. Ryan Ware ahead of him now after fighting with Joe earlier on. How are they getting on further back? Heading over the rise and fall, looks all neat and tidy, but their nose to tail, the Porsches. Yeah, Kyle's made up what I believe is one position so far. Splitting those Porsches, but in a different place. Final turn, let's see how the power takes us. Andrew's got a good sprint away from Matty J. Ryan Ware and Craig are definitely chasing on. All the Porsches are matched. Let's see how the Aston Martin of Kyle does. There he is. How does it hold its own against the Porsches? I think most of the pack's still all together. Your timing screen, everyone mostly within 2 seconds. Some just slightly over 1. Breaking down the hill a long way back. Kyle carries some speedy sideways. That's some connection issues for Ross. Funny that we saw connection issues for Ross earlier on in the week on Wednesday. So either some internet or computer issues for Ross. Sees a little bit of lag, but he slots back in. Chris Rock in the BMW in a bit of a gap, dropping off the back of the Porsches. Ellie Douglas not too far back. You've then got Ashburton and Jake Jenkins and Dave Rose, who was short into that last session, down the back of the field. Doesn't look like the Ginetta's going to come under any pressure this straight, but we'll see how it holds its own. Again, what we heard earlier on was that the Ginetta wasn't very strong in a straight line. Ellie slightly wide there. The Aston Martin of Ashburton closing up. There's camera set 2. A sideways beamer heading up the hill, just out your screen. Ellie still... Oh, Ellie slightly wide into the barrier. That's allowed Ash down the inside, but that's not a place you really want to be going too wide. Ellie into the barrier, back across the track and collected by Dave, so that's unfortunate there. Back down the front, Wellborn with a little bit of breathing room. Almost lifting the inside front wheel of the Alpine. Matt Johnston with the fastest lap of the race so far. Want to be closing onto the back of Andrew, but the fight from Craig may come sooner. Guys all just settling into their pace now. Craig very, very strong in quali. Has used that horsepower to close up onto Matt Johnston, but he's not exactly in an underpowered AMG. On his screen now, Ryan got Joe in his tow. Joe would be coming from a long way back if he did, and he has not quite. Ryan not taking the apex quite as harsh as he would have, because Joe was closing in massively. Some more spam in the chat if you're interested. Down to the final turn. Joe not close enough to do anything at the moment. The gap maintained between Matt and Craig in 2nd and 3rd. Further back, Nat Shirley has Alex Osborne behind him, and it's Carl Wright now putting the pressure onto Alex. How does the run up the hill look? All these drivers staying pretty close at the moment. Looks like Ellie has got going again further back in the pack. Perseverance may pay off, and you've always got race 2. Line in from the Aston Aston Martin driver all over the back of the Porsche. Again, strengths in different places. The inside line now covered by Alex. Is the long way viable? It's the wider line in. It's then going to be this second tightening of the 2 turns. There's a run, but nowhere to go for Kyle. Joe Challoner appears to be right on the back. It is indeed Joe Challoner right on the back of Ryan Ware. Now we'll try and keep an eye in the background for Kyle in the Aston Martin, but it looked like this closed right up. Ryan a little down on Delta. Nat Shirley matching his Delta 2 of the cars, goes straight over. Just get a little 10 seconds on that. It came over the hill. A little wiggle. A bump at a wall. So that was a bump at a wall for Kyle, and Ashley Copeland followed suit. So actually that's some damage on the side of Ashley's car. Let's hope there's nothing too bad. That may start to affect those cars aerodynamically as they come down the hill. Compromised top end. Alex Osborne was close on that. There he is. Porsche versus Porsche. Inside covered by Nat. Alex then brakes deep. We get a little switch back, maybe slightly earlier on the power. A flash of the lights to say, well, come on then. Let's keep up with those cars ahead. Doesn't really work when you're showing your nose, does it? So, Andrew Wellborn down the front leads as we head on to the 4th lap. Matt Johnston closed up slightly and has managed to gap Craig just about by a second, but again you've got 2 rather long straights coming up. There we go, that's Joe Challoner on Ryan Ware. He's managed to get the car to the inside. Where did that start? That started a long way back off the final turn, down into turn 1. The nose ahead, a little bumper doors maybe. The lock opened up by the Aston Martin trying to get the run onto this straight. We then join them at the end of the straight, the top 3 breaking away because these battles are ongoing. The Aston Martin tighter line, the Alpine ducks in behind, so Joe 2 straights later unable to make that move stick. Now let's see how they get on up the hill. Joe a fraction off the bumper of the Aston Martin. The agility and the stability of the Alpine showing as we climb the hill. Proximity to the wall quite good for these guys. Some cars starting to drop off, but don't want to accuse Ryan of being the cork in the bottle, but as you can see from your map on the right hand side, there's a string of about 5 or 6 cars here. Bumper to wall again for Kyle in that Aston Martin. It's not going to knock anything back into alignment, it's only going to make things worse. A wide sweep, wide or wide, don't know, could be either. A wide sweep over the hill for the Aston Martin, getting through that chicane section, dropping down the hill now. Run out, heading down to this oh so critical corner. Downhill braking zone, unsettle the car, get the nose in late for a drive down the hill. Here we go. The Alpine tucked in behind. You wonder if it was roles reversed. Would the Aston Martin just power past? Is he doing Joe a favour, dragging him down the hill in the little Alpine? Well, he moves out down the side. He's got enough power to get alongside. Can he do anything with it though? Track kinks to the right. They managed to go through it side by side. Who's braver on the brakes? Joe's braver on the brakes. Inside line, that's a good recipe for a move. There we are. I think there was a move going on further back. Some contact. Let's have a 10-second. There, so Alex has got the run on Nat Shirley. He's gone to the outside. He's gone the long way around, but over-rotated the car, bumps the door of Nat, and what was looking to be a good move then demotes Alex down. Let's see just where he ends up. He's got Ross right behind him. He's down in 9th, borderline on the on exiting the top 10. But here we go. We continue on. Let's just check in. Wellborn holding strong at the front. Got away from Matt Johnston on that last one. 0.4 faster on the last time of asking. Was a personal best. Not quite enough to take it off of Matt, who's done a 14.1. So dropping away slightly in the Mercedes. Take a breath now. There's Craig. Craig's dropped off slightly. That last lap was a 2:16, so the guys down the front pushing 14s. Craig has done a 14 in this race. 2 seconds off the pace on the last, so regroup and go forwards again in a moment for Craig. Joe, obviously, we saw get past Ryan. He's able to pull a slight gap, but Ryan's going with him. They're both a second up on their deltas as they come past. Nat Shirley then heads the Porsche and Aston Martin train. Slight gap back to that Aston Martin. Again, some people are falling off their times, other clipping walls and actually going faster. 29 minutes left, we're only 10 minutes in, but a quarter of the way done. Ellie Douglas back to the pits. So down the hill we go. Kyle Wright in the Aston. Ashley Copeland in the Positive Perception Racing. Liveried Porsche. Positive Perception Porsche. Osborne gathering it back up. He'll be trying to go forward. He's a second up on his Delta as well. The car's burning down on fuel, the track rubbering in, and everyone finding their rhythm on race pace. 1.2 back from the car ahead. Some wiggles under the brakes. Not sure what's happened there. He might have clipped the grass. Very, very lucky to not take anyone out there. As we go on board, did we? No, we've just a Scandi flick. Rear engine Porsche, not liking that. Holding on for dear life. Poor old Alex. Sorry, that's just a dodgy replay. Rejoin, I thought he'd left the server. So, Ash Copeland down the inside of Kyle Wright. We've now got ourselves a drag race. Where is... yeah, there's Alex in the background. The car just ahead of the BMW. Who's winning this race? The Porsche winning the race off that turn. So that is now Ash Copeland ahead of the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin of Kyle looks to come back, shows his nose, shows his intent, but not able to do anything with it on that time of asking both of those guys, showing front end damage. The little convoy into the wall over the hill earlier on. Craig back ahead of Joe. No, Craig's always been there. Sorry, I thought I saw some changes of position. Don't think I did. I think I just caught a lap sector updated. Sideways over the hill, ragged edge stuff. The guys down the front all split by about 2 seconds apiece as they file onto the back straight. You've then got these two battling for 4th position. Ryan was able to slightly come back at Joe on the last lap, but only by a by a tenth. It's all rather close at the moment. Let me know if there's anyone in particular you're watching, want to see any onboards. Go and watch, go and get involved. Joe a little sideways there. So we're just settling down a little bit. We've had almost 15 minutes of this race. Final turn, get it on my own, carry a bit of speed. Yeah, 0.2 quicker for Ryan on that last lap. So Joe, the aggressor earlier on, may be defending sometime soon. A little more ragged than Ryan there. How do we look from Ryan's perspective? Up onto the curb for Joe. That won't have done him any favours. That'll have got him into the traction control. Kyle has DC. Yeah. So we've lost Kyle. Rather unfortunate. Next point there on Harrison. So yeah, Kyle was doing okay earlier on. He was running in 8th and he managed 1 minute 24 on the last lap and has unfortunately gone. Joe on the ragged edge ahead. Ryan Marshall throttle to get him round safely. Dabbing the brakes trying to get the nose in for Joe. So it seems to be a more frantic driving style. We've lost Ellie as well. And yeah, sorry Harrison, I've just clocked it as you commented. So we've lost Ellie, we've lost Harrison, lost Harrison to injury a few weeks ago. So yeah, lost Ellie, lost Kyle. and Ross has got a stop-go 30. So, not sure what Ross has been doing. Maybe he's on a 3-minute lap time, so potentially speeding in the pit lane for whatever reason. Maybe as a result of damage. So Ryan just dropping off the back of Joe slightly now. Although externally you wouldn't have said that. They're the closest two on the track at the moment. Some more spam in our chat. It's always good to see. Another lap completed. The guy's heading on to lap 7. That's only 6 done so far. 24 minutes left. This is going to be a long time for Joe to sustain this pressure. You see your leaders ahead. Leaders still in the 14s. That's all the front 3. 4th and 5th in the 15s. Nat Shirley has made it into the 14s. So can Nat close up and get involved, especially if these two start battling anymore? Aston Martin a little more composed. Joe absolutely wringing the neck of that Alpine, but you know it can be done. Andrew Wellborn down the front has taken the fastest lap as well. He managed to dip into the 13s. He's done a 13.7 whilst we weren't looking. Matt, for comparison, is the next fastest with a 14.1, so 0.3 faster for Andrew as he was all wound up. Joe slow off the turn. Ryan then looks to the outside, but it's going to be a compromised line. Joe tries to keep a tight line and actually hits the wall, rejoins the track right in front of Ryan. Hopefully not too much damage on the Alpine. These guys having a good battle, but now they are nose to tail. Joe will be frustrated. He'll try and get a good run, but he's fast in. Does he get it turned? He does. The Aston Martin now tucked up onto the back of the Alpine. Down the hill we go. That gap was 0.5 over the mountain. When we head down the other side, is it going to be a 0.3? No, 0.2. Even closer than it looks. Which side's he going to pick? Joe slightly later on the turn in to cover the inside line. He's kind of parked mid, so not much Ryan can do from that one. Deeper in the Alpine. Good stop there from Ryan with the run. So it's the inside for Joe as we head to the final turn. He's going to park it on the apex and leave Ryan nowhere to go. It's on the brakes. Still carries fair speed. That would have been a cutback for Ryan. Now the inside is defended again by Joe. There we go. Rinse and repeat at the bottom of the straight. Joe to the inside. Parks it. Ryan just having to concede that place for now. I don't mean to alarm you, but that's a Nat Shirley closing in rather rapidly. Ryan and Joe were in the 16s and 17s. Nat still in the 15s. So Nat will make this a 3-way battle for 4th if we're not careful. Deep on the brakes for Ryan. Here comes Nat. You saw that one coming. Maybe not quite that soon, but Nat now able to attack. It's going to be the long way round. Let's try and get camera set 2. There we are, a little later than I'd wanted to, but we switch away to the little more distant cameras, give a bit more of an idea. Ryan's very quickly gone from attacking to defending. A little clip of the wall up the hill we saw just before that turn. Oh, big hit of the wall for Stephen. Was that Stephen? No, that's Ash, sorry. Ash Copeland in the positive perception car, positively smashing the wall over the top of the mountain. So a number of these GT4 cars now running with damage. It's just then a case of who has less damage. Nat now 0.9 off his delta, so he's dropped back slightly. Ryan 1.6 off his delta, but Joe, you wonder, with that scuff on the front bumper, a compromised run onto the straight, and it quickly switches back round. Ryan able to pass Joe before we even get to the right hand kink. Joe won't have enough time to come back at him on this time of asking. I wouldn't have thought. He's just going to have to persevere behind, or back behind that Aston Martin. These two drop him massively off of the front 3. Oh, Joe sideways. Can he gather it up? He can. Let's have a little 10-second. On board. Watch the steering input. It's enough to spill some wine. Yeah, so just a dab more input than he wanted to on the way in. Clipping that in a curb, putting him sideways. We're under the sea. Right, where are we? This is Craig in third. Where's Joe? So Joe now defending. Let's get off board. So within a lap, it's gone from Joe breaking away to now Joe being behind, and now Joe is defending from Nat. So Nat's had a nibble at both of the two cars ahead of him. Now he's on the outside, Joe's got the inside. Camera set 2. Some more spam in the chat. We'll try and get Andy to block them in between the race. Long way round for the Porsche. You will be going a long way round. Left himself open. Ash Copeland arrives in that positive perception Porsche, and now he's after Nat. Around the outside of Nat? Not quite, so they all just file back into where they were, but those gaps building up now. Ryan breaking away. Joe 1.2 down on his delta, and it's now 1.3, so he is slightly slower going over the hill. Ryan settled into that fourth. If he keeps it clean, that is now his. The positive perception Porsche just in the background, absolutely fine. Ash Copeland ragging every inch out of that Porsche. He wants to go over the hill and attack Nat where he can. As soon as these cars are finding other cars, it's certainly making these battles quite lively. Just further back, another two of the Porsches. You've got Stephen Pohl in the Van der Poel Motorsports liveried vehicle, just behind the factory liveried car of Alex Osborne. We saw Alex earlier on. Then here we go, Porsche matched for Porsche. Down to 14 cars, unfortunately. 27 signed up, a lot unable to make this first week. Hopefully see a slightly stronger grid and people sticking it out next week. 2 races this evening, all based off that initial qualifying, so it's not all over. After the first race you can come back and score some decent points, and there's 2 drop rounds in this series, so it's an 8 round series, 16 races. You drop 2 rounds, so 4 races in total. So even if you don't make this first race, you can still be part of it. You can still get in on the racing action and still do well in the overall championship. As you see Alex Osborne out wide out of the first turn. Stephen Pohl getting a good run up behind him now. Chris Rock in the BMW, a little more cumbersome round here. Finds himself in his own space. He can then look to take this as some practice. Still rounded out the top 10, so it'll be good points. Harris in the chat, hopefully able to race next Sunday. Yeah, it'd be good to have you back. Go easy on the arm, but yeah, it'd be good to have you in and amongst the action, picking up real momentum and having some good lap times in your last session. So yeah, it'd be good to have you back, Harrison. Dave Rose, who we saw join the session late, probably trying to pick out a better colour for the car. Not managing to, and finding some pink wheels along the way. Pink mirror caps as well. Delightful choices there from Dave. DR Racing, the Dave Rose Racing car. Ashburton as well, we saw in the Mars Bar livery during quali. So not quite able to stick with the rest of the pack, getting into strife earlier on, but Kyle, was it you that offered? Was it you that offered to commentate with us? If it was, I'm sorry, I kind of forgot who it was and then didn't make contact with you. Yeah, I think you can get into commentary if you can. Yeah, jump in the chat. If it doesn't let you in, jump into the other chat. I can drag you down. You've messaged me as well. Yeah, jump in. We'll have a go. I will stream the screen and we'll get you in. I'll try not to shout over you. Right then, let's have... Well, jump in now. Don't worry about waiting for race 2. Just jump on in. You can commentate the spam that we're getting. Oh, you're in. Hi, Kyle.
Hello.
There we go, you're in. I'll bump your volume up. Harrison, if you're still in the chat, let me know if Kyle's loud or quiet, and I'll do the best to balance it. Well, it's a battle for fastest laps down the front. I mean, Andrew Wellborn absolutely flying. He's managed to dip into the 13s. He's back into the 14s now. And yeah, those front three breaking away from the rest of the pack to the tune of, I think it's about 10 seconds now. Right, so Kyle, you should have a really basic stream quality in the Discord to be able to shout at what I'm shouting at the same time. Is it all good?
Yeah, all good.
Good
I'm
man.
just on the server as well.
Yeah, that's good to jump around and see the other action, like Stephen Pole 0.4 off the back of Alex Osborne.
Yeah.
But yeah, just jump in, shout what you see, like Stephen in the wall. And if you notice any battles, do let me know, and I'll jump to them. Yeah, absolutely, just get involved.
Will do.
Both of the Porsches pushing on a little through that turn, heading onto the back straight. So down the hill we go. Don't know if Stephen's got enough as a slipstream this time of asking. The timer ticks down over 13 minutes, so we're not quite into our final quarter. There's a yellow, briefly a yellow flag.
So what, Pole's gonna set him up down the straight. He's in the slipstream, see if he's gonna have a go.
You can actually ride on board. You'll just have to shout a little louder.
Yeah. Too far back. Settle in. See what pace he's got. Maybe up for the move. Go for a move next lap.
It's a tighter line and a better run out the corner for Stephen. Just not quite able to convert it just yet.
No.
Oh, it's going to be close on that wall. Even closer on that wall.
Can do what I did and swap the wall down here.
Both of the cars unsettled over that crest. Seemingly a bit. Oh. Another clip of the wall for Stephen, so these are going to start adding up. His tracking's going to be out, his aero's going to be damaged. He's just going to end up with a pretty ugly car to try and hustle over the mountain. The timer ticking down with just shy of that 10-minute mark, so a quarter of the 40-minute race left. Tyres will be warm. Generally starting to fatigue. Yeah, some grass there. So it'll be, if Stephen can hold on and if Alex can avoid making any mistakes. It doesn't look like there's an outright pace advantage, as you say. But it will be who can just keep it the right way up.
Yeah, definitely a race of attrition, this is.
Both
keep it out of the walls.
Both in the 16s, and like you say, yeah, it's all rather close to some concrete. Let's see how Ash Copeland is doing. So he's managed to close up on that Shirley again. Both, they were within 0.01 of each other on the last lap, so these guys matching each other. Sure, there's too many cars without it. You know, some bodywork damage of some sort on them, be that running into each other, as we've seen Jenkins in the pit, Rose in the pits, some bloke called Carl Wright in the pits.
Oh, never heard of him.
Down the hill we go. Yeah, it's close on the time, or it was close on the timing string, but Ash not quite able to do anything on that time of asking. They separate slightly as they head down the back straight. Let's just check in with Stephen. There he is, just holding place. Both of the cars understeering massively, not quite into the wall, but those Porsches definitely not handling how they were at the start of the race. Talking of which, 8.5 minutes left on the timer. Andrew Wellborn breaks the beam and goes on to lap 14. Currently with a 6.5 second lead. Sorry you've not had much screen time, Andrew, but you've just kind of driven off at the front, some earlier squabbling, and now you've managed to put a back marker between yourself and Matt. It's a fair old distance between these two.
Yeah, he's really gapped the rest of the field and really done a good job.
Is it repeatable though? Can he do it again in race 2?
Has he got enough tyres? Has he burned all his tyres in qualifying?
If you didn't, hypothetically, you'd use one set in practice, as in you'd start one set, you'd then use that set to do your first attempt at a flyer, and then you'd use one good quali set towards the end of that session to be on optimum and fresh tyres. Then you'd save 2. So
yeah, for the races.
Yeah, for each of the races. So you'd like to think they've done that. But passing is tricky around this circuit without another person making a mistake, you know, purely on pace. As he looks so composed over those curbs.
That Alpine definitely very settled for him.
Late apex sounds like a little bit of tyre scrub, but last lap was a 14. Yeah, like under on the way through the mid part of the corner and then a little snap on the way out, but he's still doing 14.5s. Matt just behind him, he's doing a 14.8. Both of them down on their deltas, obviously, because they've got cracking deltas in the 13s and 14s. Matt with a toe off a back marker there. I think that's Ross Parker. Those cars have come back out of the pit, so they're still circulating. Seat time is a good bit of practice round here. Don't know, is Craig a driver that you've seen before? He's certainly new to the slip and grip scene.
No, never heard of him. He's definitely not a part of SAR or Podspur.
No, but a welcome addition, and certainly keeping Matt and Andrew honest in the qualifying session and early on in this race. So Craig, if you do watch this back, welcome in, and well, enjoy your stay. The pace and the racing definitely welcomed, and the same can be said for Ryan. We've seen some good battles with him and Joe earlier on. Joe now nursing a bit of damage, we believe. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of these names I've not heard of, and all seems to be pretty quick.
That's it. Ryan Ware, another new name to us. Joe's part of the woodwork, and the likes of Nat coming over in previous series from Podspur and the boys. I think they are just catching the back marker over the hill. So Matt has gone past, I said the back marker. There's Ross.
Could be a battle for 8th coming up, just under a second between them both now.
So Stephen Pole launching an attack, it would seem. So just to see where Chris catches Ross. Might be on the downhill section. Porsche not looking too bad. There you see the blue flag start as Chris closes in. And look to get the last turn before the back straight sorted. Ross kind of oversteers out the way, but it lets Chris through and gives him the run onto the straight. Alex is.
Hit the
Alex
wall.
is. Did we just miss it? We'll go back 10 seconds, but that looks like Stephen's then going to be able to attack. 10 seconds wasn't enough. I didn't go back far enough.
It looks like he just had a twitch coming into the corner and just smashed the wall. That's not going to do your race any good, that is.
No, with only 2 minutes and 4 minutes. Misread it.
See if he gets a move lined up down see if he gets to run down the straight and get him into the chase. It's going to go inside, outside. Where's he going to go? Goes for the outside, coming into the chase, and the back's out of it. Showing his nose. Not close enough for a move. Oh, that's a big moment coming out of the corner.
I think that was enough of a moment that he accidentally flashed his lights, because I don't think he'd be pressing the flash button in a moment of oversteer. So a little fumble there for Stephen. Not what you want to see on a stream.
Very good save though, but
oh yeah, kept it pointing in the right direction. He lives to fight another day. It looks like we're going to have 2 laps left, so it'll be 18 laps total. There we go. Yeah, not close enough to get a toe, and probably a little bit bent and buckled after slapping the wall a few times. But they've probably got comparable damage, that they're actually having a really good battle and keeping each other honest. It's a 40-minute race, and within the last 3 minutes they are still less than a second apart. It's really good to see.
yeah, they definitely seem very even down the straights with the damage. This helps that they're in the same car, but
Osborne there physically like driving away from the wall as he came over the crest. Oh,
both hit the wall.
They're that comparable that Stephen needs to just drive his own lines and not copy Alex, because
No.
I don't think it's paying off. The car ragged over there, pitching into the turn. Change of direction, lift the inside front, lob it across a curb.
He's really pushing for the safe play. He is.
Alright man, the leader is on the final
See
lap.
if he has
Give it a final
another
push.
level to go down at the chase. Hopefully there's another moment.
Yeah, as you just heard, Andrew taking the flag, or taking the last lap call. So he's just got one more lap to stick it out. His last was a 14.3. Ryan was doing 14.3s. So Ryan finding some pace in 4th later on, but still 10 seconds back from that earlier battle in with Joe. Soon drops him off of that lead pack. However, still on your screen now is the battle with Stephen and Alex Osborne. Stephen desperate to try and find a way past. You can see he's hustling the car round. Both of them understeering wide. That's wide for Alex.
Oh, he's got the inside now, but it's backs out. Tries the inside, no. See if he gets to run down the straight into the start of the mountain.
Yeah, Alex having to back out there. He thought about another move as we get some more spam. Come on, we need those few people that are watching to out-spam the spam. I can't believe that's not been blocked by now. Oh no! Alex sideways up the hill, not quite dropping off the back. I guess we'd better go and see what the leaders are doing, although I could watch these two race for another 40 minutes. Well, we can. Hopefully it's close on these later laps, but you got to hand it to Andrew. He's driven a dominant race. He's flown in qualifying, and with only a couple more corners to go, flows the car round the last complex, heading down to what I've called the final turn several times. You can tell I don't have a clue what any of these corners are called. So there we go. Andrew Wellborn across the line.
The leader has finished the race.
A little wiggle, not quite a flash of the lights. Matty J holds on for second place. Just had the measure of Craig in the end, but Craig a podium on his debut Slip and Grip race, so really well done there, Craig. Nice to see 3 different cars in that top 3.
Ryan 4th.
Yeah, Ryan Ware in the Aston Martin. Some earlier battles with Joe, who's just dropped back slightly towards Nat Shirley, but backing off for the end of the race. Top 6 all in different cars. Then you've got the Porsche, the Porsche, the Porsche and the Porsche coming in. Then who held on for 8th, as you've seen Jake Jenkins and Ross Parker finish as well in the other Porsches. So Stephen Pohl held on. Alex Osborne drops quite a bit further back, not sure what happened to him there. The Soul Beamer holds on for 10th place. Chris churning out 17s the whole way through this race.
Oh. Chris Rock's got a P1 and AM.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a P1 for the AM. Stephen Pohl got the the P1 for the silvers, although there's only still 2 silvers in. And then you've got Dave Rose in the Aston Martin. There's Mr. Wootton. Ashworth, and there he is in the Mars car. It's not a Mars bar, that's a Mars car. Then you have Dave Rose. Where is he? There he is. Oh, the spam out spams the people that are spamming. Got you, Harrison. Absolutely. So every time there's a comment, they just chuck more spam in. Got you. Could you jump into the other chat and see if Wellborn's got a minute to block from our streaming account?
Yep.
Nice one, mate. Thank you very much.
Melbourne.
Yeah, Andrew Wellborn should have it on his phone, so if he can block it, it'll block it out of our chat. Nice one, mate. Thank you. Hopefully that works. But take a breath, have a drink, find some snacks. We're going to do it again.
Can't do it.
Okay, well, we'll live with the dodgy links.
Try to. You'll try to if you can, but can't.
Right. Will he be busy doing setup? Who do we want to talk to? Should we get someone in for a mid-race interview? I think his cars are all still in the air. Hi, Andy.
Oh, hi
Hello.
Tom. We do back to.
Yeah, we're doing in between commentary interviews. Why not? So fairly dominant quali, fairly dominant race. Confident to do it again?
Yeah, it's hard work. I'm not gonna lie. Like, although I got the gap, like to just keep the concentration and keep it out the walls around here is, takes a lot of concentration. Especially, I think there was a couple of times where I sort of clipped the walls, where I was just being silly. Really, I was just trying different things. As you do, you sort of get going around and you think, oh, I wonder if I can do this and go a little bit faster, despite being comfortably in the lead, as you do.
Well, the little things definitely look to work. He dipped into the 13s, the only driver to do so in that last race.
Yeah.
Had the measure of Matty J, who's only just picked that car, so fair play to him.
Yeah.
And the new names we're seeing in the form of Craig and Ryan, certainly up there and on the pace immediately.
Yeah, they're quick. They are quick. I don't know why it's working in particular. I've not really changed that much with the car from a default setup. It's only a slight tweak I made with it, but it just helped get the front end in, and the car just seems nicely balanced, to be fair. I think the biggest worry for the start again will be keeping that Camaro behind on the first straight. It's got a lot of power compared to me, so yeah, it'll just be, as I say, I'll probably just go for the same thing, try and get myself in front of him going through turn 1, and then just keep it on the right hand side and hope that he's not already past me by the time we get to turn 2.
Well, I hope you've pressed go, because we've got 6 seconds.
Yeah,
Good man.
We'll go.
Yeah, we'll let you lead the pack away. Good luck, Andy.
No worries. Thanks, Tom. Cheers.
I'm trying to put you back. Oh, there he's gone. Right, I nearly moved myself. Right, so Andrew leads the pack away. Chris moves away. They all file away off the front of the pack.
Is there a separate password for joining a spectator?
Yeah.
Can I
There
grab
is.
that?
Yeah.
Rather than...
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
There's Paul Hayho in the chat. Greetings from Cyprus. What's going on with the chat? We've got some spam and we don't have an admin password for the streaming account to block said person. So just going to have to resist your temptation to click the links, Paul, I guess. So we saw dominant race and quali from Andrew. But like he said, he is susceptible to attack from a rather high horsepower Camaro. If Craig can get a good run, there's some more spam files into the chat. Yeah, if Craig can get a good run and hold off Matt Johnston, then he might stand a chance to go after Wellborn. It was only the fights earlier on between he and Matt Johnston, and I believe a clip of the wall within the first lap that meant he couldn't attack Andrew. So another chance for Craig. The beauty of this, you get 2 goes from that one qualifying. Thought it was funny we hadn't heard from Josh Copeland in the chat, but he's actually probably clicked one of those links and is now preoccupied. Nice shot of some tarmac there. Right, over the hill we go. You see the size difference of the Camaro and the Alpine there. 2 very different cars, and it'll be interesting to see later on in the series, around some different tracks, how different cars come into their own. I don't know how your Aston Martin was holding up.
It was very good through the corners, but as soon as you're onto that straight, it just dies. So. Those Porsches are definitely better at both.
Matt J just demonstrating the ghosting of the outlap. A little bit of lag as well. Stop motion, Matt. Right then, let's go. Helicam will watch around the Ryan area. We'll see. Can Joe make an early attack like he did last time? Can Matty J make his way forwards? Can Chris put Andrew under some pressure? Andrew well forward in his grid markings.
Green light, go, go, go.
Gives him the advantage at turn 1 instantly. You can see the horsepower of the Camaro. Some bunching further back between the Porsches. Go, Kyle, go!
Looking at the outside. Not going to work up the hill though. Osborne's got the inside. Going to defend it. See if Corvette can get rolled way around the outside, which he can't. Loses 2 places, maybe even the 3rd. Second position. Drops all the way back into 4th. Ryan defending.
So in looking to take the lead, Chris. It's not Chris, Craig. Sorry, Craig. Looking to take the lead, Craig's gone to the outside of Andrew, and that's left the door open for the 2 cars behind him. So he drops to 4th on the opening lap. He will now try and go back at Ryan. So Andrew's trying to do the same as before. That's
wide.
Stephen Pohl. So Andrew leads them down the back straight. We've got a car in the wall. I think Ash Copeland, he got a nudge. He got a nudge from the yellow Porsche, gathered it back up. I think that was
League
Osborne.
going on. Mercedes down the inside, coming into the chase. Very close. It's going to get a better exit. No.
He could have closed the door, Andrew, and he chose not to. He let Andrew back through. They live to fight another day. Someone else does them further back. Stephen Pohl's been off again, so it's all kicking off on lap 1. Andrew leads the way from Matt Johnston, but Matty J definitely not letting him get away like he did last time. Good run there for the Mercedes off that turn, and he's going to be bringing a Camaro with him.
Really tell that Camaro is taking a lot more speed going into the corners, so
over the rise and fall. Matt shows his intent early on, can't quite convert it. It's going to make Andrew hesitant, not quite as sweet on his apex as he wanted to be. Matt tries to tuck the nose at the inside, which would then become the outside of There's a Corvette.
Corvette getting in the mix now.
Not Corvette, Chevrolet.
Chevrolet. Yeah, me saying the wrong thing now.
It's a Chevy Camaro. They're all American. They're all big lumps. That's Joe in the wall. He tried to get on the back of Ryan there. Here we are, quick little replay. He's all over the back of him. He's got a bit of understeer, unsighted into the barrier. So Joe just clipping the wall early on in the race. That's going to have implications to his handling later on. So those front 5 all starting to break away from Ash Copeland in the Porsche. Joe with a bit of grass there. He's frantic early on, trying to stay on with the pack. Down the hill we go. Not really sure where we should be watching.
Top 3 all close together. Chevrolet looks a lot better through the corners, but kind of just stalls on the straights compared to the Mercedes and the Alpine.
Which is surprising. 'Cause it's meant to have the horsepower advantage.
Yeah. That Mercedes definitely got the legs on the straights, but through the corners, just drafting back from the Alpine.
That's making him susceptible to attacks from Craig. Craig piling on the pressure now. So he quickly made his way back past Ryan.
Craig with the fastest lap as well. He's definitely pushing to stay ahead. Coupland with the fastest lap now.
But that's a 14.8. We saw these guys dropping into the 13s. Big chunk of exit curb from Craig. Desperate to get that run.
Help.
No, that's going to slow him down on this time of asking, but he's desperate to get on the back of this train and make moves on Matty rather than letting Matt pressure Andrew. Like I say, Ryan and Joe are not far off. They are definitely in contention to be part of this battle.
Of course, if they keep fighting, then the rest of the pack's going to catch up.
So it looks like Dave Rose, Ash Wooten and Jake Jenkins have all been in strife. 8, 3 and 7 seconds off the back of the pack respectively. Meanwhile these top cars all glancing past that wall. Speed they're carrying. Andrew having to make use of the agility of the Alpine over the top. Matt a little switch in the Mercedes, but he's got that horsepower that keeps it in contention down the straights. Camaro, a mix of the two. Good agility and fair straight line. I think there's a lot to be said for the setup work on that big American lump.
Oh, it's gone wide as well.
Compromises the run onto the straight. As you say, he drops back slightly. What's happened to Joe? A recovering Joe. I'm just going to drop back 30 seconds. Joe was on the back. Coming down the hill, he was all over the back of the Aston Martin. Oh, he's lost the back. He's done well to not hit the barrier harder.
Oh,
just a gentle tap.
Very well.
An okay rejoin.
There was a gap there as well, so he didn't have to wait for the whole field to pass.
That's it, fed back in and then ended up under attack. He's ended up in 8th, just behind Alex Osborne. Down the front, Andrew's still having to soak up the pressure, but he seems to be doing okay now. It's also released Ryan to go forwards instead of looking in his mirrors. He's got that gap back to Ash. That Shirley's on the back of Ash Copeland, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Matt still well on the back of the Alpine. Andrew will be sweating slightly more than last time.
Matt looking the inside, showing his nose, trying to apply the pressure. Gotta wait for a mistake if he wants to get past. Craig's dropped off a little bit.
Still up on his very close to the wall for Craig that time. Just let these two fight it out for the moment. You get the feeling that it might end quite spectacularly. I don't think that'll be in 32 minutes. Down the hill, Wellborn pushing on that tyre, taking a hammer in. As you say, you don't know what tyre set he's on. Matt looking a little more composed. Andrew's really trying to break away. Good early power onto the back straight. Give Matt as little chance as he can. Also fastest lap for Wellborn on that last lap. Each of the drivers are improving. Pretty much everyone's got a green delta, so they're all settling down.
Matt's looking for the move. Outside into the chase, may not work. Left plenty of space. And he's got the lead.
Nice
Will
lead.
Wellborn send a move down here? No. Too far back. All this letting Craig close up on the gap.
But can Matt now break away? It's one thing getting the pass done. Does he have the overall pace advantage, or was Andrew turning round? He's now got clear road, no reference to the car ahead. He's just got to do his own thing. Andrew now gets a toe down the straight as well. That'll help him in the battle against Craig, but Craig may still try and launch an attack, and we're racing, so why wouldn't he? We've got a yellow flag. Let's just have a quick look. Who have we got where? We've got car 10 stopped. Car 10 being the car of Stephen Pole. So I don't know what's happened there for Stephen. Craig, very deep. Does he lose a place? The Aston Martin of Ryan catches up. Goes to make a move around the outside. There's Craig defending. Nowhere for that Aston Martin to go. So Craig outbrakes himself slightly, and that's the front two breaking away now. Craig and Ryan may have a battle on their hands. Ash Copeland now ahead of Nat Shirley. Both headed out towards the wall. Seems that these Porsches start understeering more as the race progresses. Like Ryan ahead. They did. Ryan attacking Craig as we descend the hill. Wellborn's right on the back of Johnston still. There he is, just in the bottom of your screen. These two heading through as well. Good run from the Aston Martin, got the nose in early on the power.
No, but that Chevrolet is just going to stretch its legs down the straights. That Aston Martin's got no top end speed, even without any sort of damage.
Sounds like you were speaking from experience. Challenger 0.0. Oh God! Excuse me, sir.
Close.
You appear to have an Alpine in your boot.
Oh, he's gone. Has he gone deep? Going to get the cut back. Or across the grass.
Shortcut, yeah, shortcut for Joe. Just about tidies it up to come back on the track.
Taking a joker lap he was.
So Joe not able to convert that run. We've got Ross behind who can smell blood. He's going to try and go after him. Try and keep up with the Porsche train. So unlucky for Joe after that earlier spin and slapping the car into the wall. Can Ross get a run? You see the damage on the back of the Alpine where he backed in. Joe just settled for a minute. Let's just check in down the front. Yeah, they're all improving on the deltas. They're in the mid-14s at the moment. Andrew did dip as low as a 13 on that last race, but really was pushing.
Been watching Wellborn and Matt up through the mountain. It just looks like Wellborn's got a very, very good car at the top of the hill, but Matt's straight line speed is just stretching away. So Wellborn can't really do anything about it. He's got to wait for a mistake or some kind of run coming out of the corner to try and make a move. But looks like if it stays how it is, then obviously Matt's going to win it. But we'll see what Craig can do, because Craig's closing the gap ever so slightly. But we'll see what the pace is like, and Ryan right on the back of there. So if there's an instant ahead, then Ryan's going to really capitalise on this.
Definitely is. Something to also consider is the tyre life. So Andrew seemed to sustain his pace throughout, whereas last time Matt couldn't stick with him. Like that, a chunk of grass, but then Wellborn's wide in the background. So they're trading errors at the moment, and like you say, that'll soon let Craig and Ryan back on the case, because those two are not far away.
Well, yeah, the Aston's closed in on Craig. Ryan's closing in. Might be a...
Ryan's got fastest lap of the race.
I can't see the fastest lap. Is that 13?
It's a 14.2, so not quite as fast as we saw from Andrew, but definitely got the measure of the cars in front of him at the moment. He'll have had a nice toe down that back straight, so he'll have all the benefits of the Aston Martin, but then not lost out down the straight.
See if he makes a move at the top of the mountain, because that Aston Martin's very good through the top of the mountain. However, the top of the mountain not very known for overtaking unless Unless we're in a V8 supercar, which I don't think these are.
Wide sweep in for the Aston Martin, trying to get a run up the hill, maintain that momentum. Challoner in the pits, so hopefully that's just a quick repair for Joe and not the end of his session. That'd be real unfortunate to see.
Oh, I hit the wall.
Yeah, little rubber the wall.
Yeah.
Scuffing the paint. Oh, they're all running on the edge. The Camaro's gone in hot. Dab of oversteer. A little bit floaty for the Aston Martin as well. Glued straight on his bumper. So no sooner has he rubbed the wall, he's then nearly on the bumper of the Camaro. Here we go again. Closing in on the front two. The front two again down on their times. The Aston Martin looks the most measured of the lot at the moment.
At the moment. Yeah, well, that Mercedes is definitely pulled the gap though this lap though. The Aston Martin looks strong.
Yeah, last lap Andrew did a 15 and Matt did a 14.4, so most of that was actually pulled on the last lap. Let's see how this one compares. 14.6 for Johnston, 14.7 for Wellborn, 14.9 for Craig, and then a 15.1, but we did see the tap of the wall for Ryan, so where he was flying last lap and got that fast this lap. Settles back in, but that's your top, what, four together, and then you got 5th, 6th and 7th still in view. I think one of those was actually Joe feeding back out of the pits. And that white LP. Where do we go? You got Dave Rose and Ashley Button were close together. Now 1.8 apart, and some damage on the front end of Dave's car. Is there the respective damage on the back of the Mars bar car? No, so it looks like it was wall induced, not opponent induced. Yeah, an 18 that last lap for Ash, and 19 for Dave, so not quite on the pace of the front runners, but still having a fight of their own. Chris Rock finding himself in that no man's land, that gap again in the BMW, nothing quite matching it on pace. Into the 16s for Chris though, we saw him consistent 17s last race, so it's good to see continual improvement.
Getting comfortable with that new rig.
Oh, is he in a new rig, is he?
Oh yeah, he was talking about it earlier.
What's a brief rundown of the spec? What sort of rig are we looking at?
I'll have to bring it up.
You know it's good when you need the spec sheet.
I don't think it's that good, but
What's he running? Triples? Is he
he's running wide script, well, wide,
one of the ultra
screen,
wides? Yeah.
single, ultra wide, single screen.
Nice.
Button box, he's 3D printed, and Logitech wheel, and then the CSL load cell ones. All still table mounted, but looks a lot sturdier than the one he had before.
That's it. It's all an improvement. More force feedback and more detail in that feedback if you're not wobbling around everywhere. So that's good. New rig doing him well. How have we got 2 fastest laps?
Have they done identical lap times?
Yeah, they have. They have. So
Wow.
Wellborn and Ryan Ware have both done 2-minute 14.2s. Identical lap times currently.
I've never seen that before. I've seen that in qualifying, never seen the fastest identical lap times in the race.
Well, it normally gives you just one purple. It's whoever did it first. But apparently the script doesn't understand it and just says, right, well, they're both fastest.
Do we have a fastest lap point in this series?
Don't know. Half a point now.
Oh.
Have to share it.
Let's see if someone can improve that. I know they were dipping into the 13s Andrew's under pressure.
Well, Andrew's
lap?
pushing it, yeah.
Yeah.
So the little Alpine nipping at the heels of that Merc. I'm not sure if Matt's taken the best out of the tyres to get by and outdoing him in braking zones and scrubbing the tyres and whatnot, but
Got
yeah.
the slipstream down the straight, may have a run into the chase, but we'll see.
I think it's just enough to maintain the gap in the Alpine. I don't think it's enough to actually get the run.
No.
I may be wrong. We may be
that
pleasantly surprised.
Alpine's quite good under the brakes and through the corners, so may be able to gain, have a go coming into turn 1 or maybe turn 2, but we'll see. Doesn't look like he's got an opportunity through the chase, but maybe through the final corner, but looks like he's going to be a bit too far back for a move.
He appears in the screen at a rate of knots. That's got to make your heart go slightly. I know he's quicker through the apex, but
Very good under the brakes.
yeah, you've got to be really confident that you're not going to wipe out your opponent. That must take some getting used to. 0.3 of them on the last time of asking. The lap times, yeah, not great.
No.
14.9 for Matt, 14.5 for Andrew. Tucked up
Yeah,
under the Merc.
Looks like they're pulling away from the P3 and 4 at the moment, but definitely the battle to watch at the moment. Goes through. Coming up through the first slot of the mountain.
We're over halfway already. It's flown by quicker than the last. These battles raging on. I think we got to 17 laps last time, and we're on lap 9 now. Just see Andrew looks a little more composed on this time of asking. Last time he was millimetres off the wall. Again, he's out over that line. Dips in. Matt rubs the wall, so the pressure's getting to him. Big crank of locks to get the nose in that time. That again will be asking a lot of the tyres. And even as Matt is off on his pace, Andrew then in towards the back of him will have to brake a little bit earlier.
Almost bumper to bumper coming down the hill.
See, as Matt cooked that right front, doesn't seem to be at the moment. A little bit of lag from Matt. That's a characteristic of racing Matt. He does seem to stop motion at times. Down the hill we go. 18 minutes left in the race. The low sun of 6:30 in game as we're 9:15 in the real world.
Craig looks like he's pulling that gap ever so slightly, but these two have really got to start fighting if Craig wants to have a chance at a win. But of course, podium is still a very good result. Alpine's so good at the braking through the last corner.
You see the speed that he carries almost, then Matt getting back up to speed under the acceleration. Craig closed in slightly through the last sector, but actually overall was down on the guys at the front. The front two, 14.4s on the last skin, and that was actually a PB for Matt. Trouble is, Wellborn is all over the back of him, going with him.
Bending that inside as well, but knows he's not going to make a move too far back.
Curb on the inside of Matt. Yeah, unsettles the car slightly, sorry.
Race that boring?
Yeah. Struggling with it, yeah. No, it's been a really good race so far, and it's far from over for these two, just looking down the list.
Bumper to bumper now.
Yeah, Chris Rock on the back of Ross Parker. Matt, a little twitch over the hill. Andrew just looking a little more composed in that Alpine. Thing is, he'll get into a rhythm now. He'll be all right following Matt, and then it will take something drastic to get past. They're both quite comfortable. Matt a little more narrow into the turn. Andrew taking a wider sweep earlier on the throttle, but is now just 100 horsepower shy of where he'd like to be to cruise on by. Just has to admit that Matt is in a car more suited to the track. I would say quicker car, but Andrew set the fastest lap last time. Joe Challoner in 14th has stolen the fastest lap. He's done a 13.9 because he's
that's just for bragging rights, isn't it?
That's it. And I believe there is the point for it in this series. So he's nicked a point from the guys at the front. But he's in the Alpine, so in clear air you are able to make use of the handling. You just can't when you're tucked up behind a Mercedes. So here we go again, 15 minutes left on the clock. Up the hill we go yet again. Just try and get a feel for it. So if we follow Andrew and go on board, yeah, he just sat tight up behind the Mercedes, can't really do anything with it. Chris Rock is still half a second off of Ross, so we might just dip away. A little bit of understeer in the Alpine, scrub in the front, you heard it. Andrew will be able to hear that as well, though. He'll be able to make the appropriate changes. He can mess with his brake bias, just trying to float it round, little steer and input changes. Very on the edge. Normally you see the drivers quite smooth with their inputs, but Andrew having to make little tiny adjustments, little flick this way, that way. Aero maybe coming into play as well, tucked up behind the Merc. Easy on the throttle, slap of the wall for Matt. Might have been lag, might have actually been contact, so we're not sure on that one just yet.
All over the curb.
Just off through the left-hander, slightly wide, so it's compromised him down here. Just needs to regroup and try and go with Matt. Matt's got quite a late apex, didn't really want to get the front end in. Now not really able to go with him on this time of asking, whereas Craig behind is on his delta and can see these two just ahead. You hear the V8 absolutely singing.
Yeah, gap behind to Craig now is 0.8. Really pushing now in these late stages of the race. See if you can gain any sort of position.
Oh, Matt lagging there, that makes it ever so difficult to follow. So that'll be the challenge on for Andrew.
Craig 0.2 quicker through the last sector than the top two.
Yeah, top two in the 15s. Craig maintaining those 1 minute 14 lap
He's
times.
gone wide.
He won't
all over that curb.
Yeah, surpassed the curb and got off the painted bit and ended up on what I believe is AstroTurf, if not grass. So not able to capitalise and get a run up the hill, although he's not too far off his delta either. Chris Rock has dropped off of Ross Parker now. Ash Copeland on the back of Osborne. We'll just have a look. We've got a yellow flag. Number 1, that's Joe.
Bottom of the mountain, top of the mountain. Looks like he's lost it.
Pushing on, he's got that fastest lap. I think he was going for another one for
Yeah.
Pride. Oh, was that a Matt in the wall? Did Matt just slap the wall? Let's watch a quick replay. I don't know if it was lag. Oh,
That's a big hit.
I think it was.
I don't think that was lag.
I think it was. So let's see how it affects him coming down the other
He's
side.
hit the wall again. Hit the wall again. Coming. I don't know what that section's called.
Down the hill.
That's down the hill. That bit. But no, it looks like he's really hurt himself on the straights.
See the car lagging as well. That's really not what Matt needs. And see how it stops as well. Because the damage can tend to hurt a car in different areas. That lag again from Matt. race in a stop motion for Andrew. He doesn't know where he can launch his attack and where he'll just get pincered as Matt floats his way off the turn. And that's not a compliment of his driving style, that is just his internet. Yeah, way up and over the curb. Andrew moves out. Unable to tell if he had a run or not. He does have a...
Looked like there was contact, bit to do with the lag there.
So the lag may be compromising Andrew's race because he thought he could tuck back in and then couldn't really, and that's brought Chris into contention. That's really livened up this race, but you have to feel for Andrew. You don't want Andrew's demise to be Matt's lag.
No, of course.
Coming down to the final quarter of this race, we tip under that 10-minute marker. Andrew still the stronger car over the top of the hill. He and Matt 0.7 off. Matt submerged through the floor. At what stage do you tell him to just do something about it? Just not much he can do. Yellow flag, there's a car ahead. It's Joe Challoner. Oh, he's in the wall backwards. The guy's all through.
Out the way though.
Yeah, well out the way. He'll just leave that parked, I'm not sure. He may elect to just put it back to the pits. It might be the safer thing to do, but this is going to heat up and this is going to come to a head.
Craig flirting with the barrier there.
So
Trying to get as much of a run down the back straight as possible, see if he can get a run down into the chase.
Matt's ping highlighted on the bar on the left. Big yellow bar showing that he's not doing too well with his response time and packet loss. Oh, as Andrew closes up, but he doesn't know what he can do, and of course if Matt's download is okay, you have a good run off the turn for Andrew. He needs to just keep that car between him and Chris. So Andrew takes the inside, Matt goes for the cutback. So he's gone to get the run. Chris will have the toe on the faster car. Hopefully Andrew can keep the inside line.
Craig needs to look to the inside.
Yeah, sorry, I called him Chris again, didn't I? Craig. Sorry, Craig.
Craig. Craig. See if you can sneak it on past.
Andrew's narrow in and slightly slow. Matt's somewhere. So difficult to race against that. Andrew was able to act when he could, when there was that opportunity, and he has made the pass. Now slightly gapping Matt, and as long as Matt doesn't lurch forward too far, Andrew should be able to break away. Matty J now turns to defence from Craig. Craig's kept himself in contention, and Ryan's not too far back at all. As they dance across the track, dance over the hill. Can Andrew get through the hairpin at the bottom of this section and make a break down that straight line, or will Matt be able to reel him in 50 milliseconds at a time? Into the braking zone. Matt lurches forward. Puts himself under pressure from Craig down into the final turn. Let's watch Craig, because it looks like Andrew has welcome in Craig, welcome to racing Matty J. Back end of the Mercedes sinks through the floor. Hopefully it settles as we go up the hill. Craig with the good run and comparable horsepower. Not able to do anything on this time of asking. In we go then, heading up the hill. Oh, through the floor. There we go. Here it comes. I'm almost lost for words.
Oh, big mistake.
Drops Craig off the back of Matt. One distraction too far as the Mercedes submerged its way through the floor, and with 5 minutes left that's going to be a big ask for Craig, but he's had really good pace so far, so let's see what he can do. That spreads all the cars out a little bit. We'll keep an eye on the times. Let's just give some other people some coverage. Ryan still within contention. Can still see the guys ahead. Can definitely be in the mix in that Aston Martin. Nat Shirley got the measure of that Porsche now coming into this second race. He's also been into the 14s, the low 14s, 14.4 the fastest lap for Nat. Alex Osborne then up behind Joe, who's sometimes doing fastest laps, sometimes parked the wrong way on the hill. Ross Parker keeping an eye on Chris Rock in his mirrors. That gap has been to and froing, ebbing and flowing. Ash Copeland then a little further back through the mountain section. Some damage on the front of that car. Nursing it home to another top 10 finish.
That was wall riding all the way down up through the mountain.
Who was that, sorry?
That Mars bar car. Contact at the lead. Contact at the leaders.
So if we go back 30 seconds.
Yep.
So you got Andrew coming down into this bit. Oh, he's taken a big lump of curb. Andrew's chosen to do a bit of Formula Drift. He squeezed, well, he took the normal line. Matt's decided to have the left. Bit of lag into the braking zone. Yeah, Matt's still got his nose alongside Andrew. Slightly on Matt, not turned in. Not quite sure where that would sit, but they maintain position after that battle.
That Craig.
Let's pull Craig
to
back,
the
yeah.
now.
Go on, sorry.
Maybe even Ryan. Maybe Ryan fancied the podium. He's really closed in due to those mistakes at the front.
Really close for the wall, and then Craig is into the wall. A glancing blow, you can see the damage on the side of that Camaro now, but he's all the more inspired to chase after Matt. Under rotation to the left front, you saw it just lock in as he came down and unloaded it across the curb. There we go, let's see what he can do into the tight left-hander. Tucks in on a much tighter line than Matt earlier on the power as well. The bumper of the Mercedes has been found by Craig. Let's jump on board. And we've seen Matt hit the wall a couple of times, so we know he has a bit of damage. That may be compromising his straight line speed. Up into 6th we go. The long gear ratio for the Camaro. Little dance around for Craig as you see Matt start to lag. There you go. How do you defend against that? A little unsettled in the braking zone. Closes right up on Matt. Settled there for Craig, a little dab of oversteer, so that just drops him back again into the braking zone. How settled is Matt's car on this time of asking? Craig can definitely brake later, but Matt's just got the measure of him off on that final turn. Andrew's braking away slightly, yeah, last lap just called. Glance up into the mirror. That's Ryan, it's right there. So if anything happens between these two, I don't think he'll be in striking distance of his own accord. However, if anything happens between these two, lag induced or otherwise, Ryan will be right there. Here we go, then into the braking zone significantly later for Craig. Still hooks up that apex. Has to take a big amount of lock, but a hesitation there as Matt darts around on the lag. Mercedes all over the place in front. the wheel as we go over the curve. Now this top fast section. Skim the barrier on the left, out to the right hand side. Skim another. Here's your third. Let's skim another. A little bit of understeer, having to get out of the throttle. We're millimetres off over the rise and fall. Then we're going under the barrier now, falling downhill where we saw the under rotation, a little unsettled. Down the right hander, look in the background. That superior handling of the Aston Martin's brought it into contention. Shame it just doesn't have the horsepower to convert it down the hill. Andrew leads them for the final time out of this hairpin. Good run for the Aston Martin behind, but instantly drops in the acceleration phase of this straight. And it all appears to be settled unless there's something catastrophic into this final turn. Good run from Ryan. Can he convert it? He'll be tucked right into the slipstream of the Camaro. Matt and Andrew look to be holding their positions as long as no one does anything silly. The Aston Martin closes right up. Early on the power of the Corvette. No. Chevrolet slightly deeper in the braking zone. Has to cover the inside from the Aston Martin. Andrew Welborn into the final turn. It's going to be the long way around for the Aston Martin. Can he get on the throttle? He can, but it might not be enough. As they hold position under a tenth apart. A really good finale to that race. So Andrew gets back past Matt. Matt lags his way to second. Craig almost immediately back to the pits, and Ryan gets that fourth place. Nat Shirley for a fifth. Osborne up behind a very battered Joe Challoner, a number of laps down. You've also had Dave Rose finish +1. You've then got Ross just holding on ahead of Chris Rock. Chris not able to attack at this point. Ross has attacked something with the front of that car, but a brilliant result again for these two, having a good old battle. Then Ash Copeland is a little further back. Can't bother with that turn. Not quite hitting his braking marker on the final time of asking. He then had another back marker. I think that might have been Stephen Polt. And then the Mars car of Ashley Wootton. See you there in the pool, in the chat pool. Yeah, it was really good racing. Stephen Pohl disqualified. That's good. That'll be a nice 0 score for him. And then, yeah, Jenkins is just finishing out his race. So I'm not sure what Stephen did to get disqualified, but yeah, you can see the disco, bit of rubber banded in that. But GG top 4 really fun battles. Andy's typing as well. I think that will echo that statement. There was some rubber banding, but some really good racing throughout the field. Sorry, I've just kind of gone off on a monologue there, Carl.
That's fine. But
Yeah.
no, very good racing. All the top 4 very close throughout the entirety of the 40 minutes.
And then the gap of 0.09.
Side by
cars-
side as well.
Yeah, as the cars all jump back to pits, the drivers will have looked at their tyres at the end of that. They'll learn from that, ready for next week. And well, that rounds it out. We'll be back next week for round 2. Hopefully we get more of the 27 sign-ups in and racing. If you are watching this and have managed to watch it to this point after the race, good on you. And if you have been joining us for the first time and want to join the racing, then please do get involved, join the Discord and sign up to the racing. Links are in the Discord. Thanks for joining me, Carl. We'll get a rhythm to it next time. We'll be in. I assume you'll be in from the start?
Of course.
That's it, and we'll I'll try and take a breath and let you speak over some of it. Good stuff. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.